All right, let's have a look at the team of the year then. And as ever, we start with agreed selections, and there are, how many have we got? 5 that they agree on. So Trippier at right back, no, 6, sorry, I didn't see Kevin De Bruyne lurking there. Trippier and Ruben Dias at the back, Odegaard, Rodri and De Bruyne with Haaland. So there's a Manchester City dominance. Where should we start with this then? We've talked about Odegaard. Gary, I think you were talking about Trippier earlier. Ruben Dias, Jamie, what marks him out?
Listen, I think he's been fantastic since he's come to Manchester City. I really love him as a defender. And Gary mentioned earlier on the show about Man City messing about with different formations and teams and players. And I remember at times he wasn't playing. I remember going to Tottenham away when maybe one of the last games that they lost, and he was sub. And I'm just when he comes back, he's got an intensity about him. He loves to defend. And I think when I think of Manchester City's best centre-back, I think of Ruben Dias. That's the first person that I think of. And the defensive record, I think, now is, alongside Newcastle, the best in the division, so I think he's got to go in.
It's interesting as well to hear from Manchester City players yesterday talking about who the manager is in the dressing room, and it was Ruben Dias. He is the mini Pep that drives them on. All right, so we've got the agreed selections, but I think let's spice things up by throwing in Jamie's team of the season. So here it is complete. These are Jamie's picks in white. Alisson in goal. Well, that's probably not a great surprise. How does Botman get in there alongside Ruben Dias?
I think Botman came in as a player who was linked at a lot of top clubs, and then maybe they looked at him and didn't think he was quite good enough. Left-sided centre-back, which is always this is what managers want now, considering the way that teams build up from the back. He's gone into Newcastle, and they have the best defensive record, I think, in the Premier League alongside Manchester City. And it's not a defensive team, it's an attacking team. And I just think he's there week in, week out. He's got great size, great presence, and the amount of clean sheets that they keep, I just think he had to go in for me.
Zinchenko at left back.
Yeah. I went for Zinchenko, and I actually think, along with Arsenal, he's dropped off of late, certainly defensively, but I can't forget those months of sort of October, November, December, January, February, when Arsenal on a great run, and he was taking huge responsibility and going into that midfield position, getting on the ball, especially the games when they scored late. I thought he was a huge part of that, you know, just continually getting on the ball, making clever passes, certainly against Manchester United. And I think him and Jesus coming in initially lifted the level at Arsenal and took them to where they are. So I wouldn't say there was too many outstanding candidates, but for me, I think Zinchenko's had a huge role at Arsenal this season. You've
got an experienced forward line as well, with Haaland up there, alongside Haaland, who both of you picked, Mo Salah and Harry Kane, who we've not sort of talked about in terms of
Haaland on the left wing.
Who's got to find
No, just a little diamond. Kane in the hole.
Diamond. How would you view Harry Kane's level this season?
Unbelievable. I mean, Haaland, we've said before, player of the year, is a freak. Harry Kane, what he's done this season, playing in one of probably the worst teams he's played in, to get that number of goals, I think is out of this world. He's probably in some ways, as he had as good a season as Haaland. Haaland's playing for Man City, don't forget. Chances every game. He's playing for a Tottenham team who are really struggling. Who's that? Who's giving you information there? Artificial intelligence. That's where he's getting his stats from.
He's got Salah in there. I was trying to look for his Premier League goals. How he scored? I was thinking.
We'll get to Salah because I know that'll come in a minute. But I think you could make an argument that Harry Kane's had as good a season as Erling Haaland. That's how highly I rate Harry Kane.
And where does Mo Salah fit into that picture?
Well, he's trying to get... We've got a stats guy, you see. We get a little bit of information. He's waving off camera saying, how's he got Salah in? Will, I need the stats. I'll tell you why Mo Salah's in. Because in the top...
Liverpool player.
Yeah. So you wouldn't have him anywhere near it, no?
No, Mo Salah, for me, I'd have him in every single season, but to me this year, I picked someone else.
So in the top 5 European leagues, yes?
No.
In the top 5 European... No.
Look, Mo Salah's numbers are fantastic.
Yeah, in a really poor Liverpool team.
Yeah, I agree with that. But my point is, when I've watched him play this season, I don't think he's been anywhere near the level of the player I picked.
Hang on, let me just get my last stat in. The top 5 European leagues, there's only Haaland and Mbappe who've got more goals and assists than Mo Salah this season.
No, I'm talking about
19 goals, 11 assists, 30 goal contributions.
No, it's unbelievable.
That's the Premier League. We're talking about all in all. He scored 30 goals this season.
I've had him in the last 4 or 5.
Let's have a look who you picked then in your front 3.
30 goals, 15 assists, all comps.
Well, there is a youthful front three. Gary's gone with Saka and Martinelli.
Wow. Over Kane and Salah?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think this season, Saka and Martinelli, up until the last few weeks, have absolutely lit up this league. I think they've been spectacular. I think they've been electric. Some of the best play that I've seen all season has been from them two. To be fair, with Jesus up front and Ødegaard behind. I can't forget. Look, I've not liked what I've seen from Arsenal in the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think it's been really, really poor. Let's be clear. And those two players have suffered. And I always thought they would suffer by not having the right experienced players around them. But for 30 games, they were magical. Absolutely magical. And they were at a different level, I believe, than, for instance, Rashford, Salah. Kane's a different position. I picked one striker and 2 wide players, so I wasn't even looking at playing 2 strikers. I was looking at 2 wide players, so forget Kane for 1 second. But I just looked at Rashford, I looked at Salah and thought, yeah, they've got great numbers, but I thought them two have been spectacular and electric, and they've lit my season up. So
what does Rashford have to do to get in your team?
No, Rashford's got 1 more goal than, I think, Martinelli. So I think 16 to 15. So Martinelli's got 15, Rashford's got 16. But I just thought the way in which Martinelli and Saka have dovetailed in that front three of Arsenal is something that I'll remember from this season as a real high point, and I'm not moving away from that.
You've talked as well about Arsenal. I heard you last week or the week before talking about Saliba.
Yeah.
And I think Micah was arguing that his absence was paramount to Arsenal's drop-off, and you weren't so sure, but you've got him here in your team.
No, what I said was we can't have Saliba as an excuse for losing against basically Brighton, against Forest, against all these teams they've lost against, dropping points against West Ham. You can't use Saliba as an excuse for that drop-off. However, if you're saying Saliba's had a fantastic season, of course. I think they've averaged 2.4 points per game with him in the team and 1.5 against. I looked at Botman, and Jamie mentioned clean sheets, but they've only had 1 clean sheet in the last 16 games, Newcastle. John Stones has only played 11 games at centre-back. So from that point of view, I looked at centre-back really closely. I'd not looked at Salah on that left-hand side really too much. I was always picking Saka on that side.
So you weren't taking other people into consideration?
For me, I was never picking Salah over Saka this season,
so
ever.
A player who's got more numbers in a worse team, you would never even think about picking him?
No, I really have picked him for 4 or 5 years as a Liverpool player. I think he's absolutely sensational, but I was never picking Salah over Saka this season, so I wasn't even looking at the numbers. But at centre-back, that was one of the positions I really struggled with, that second centre-back. I looked at Botman, I looked at Stones, I looked at Akanji, I looked at all these players, but I still, when I looked at all the stats, couldn't find anybody that had the impact on the team like Saliba had. So I put him in because I think he's had a great season.
So let's talk about left-back. Why did Will, our stats guy, go for it? Sorry, why did you go for a Stupinian?
No, just sometimes you get to a point with a left-back. I thought, Luke Shaw's had a fantastic season. Zinchenko's had a decent season. City have really struggled at left-back. And then Estupiñán has had a fantastic season at Brighton. I was like, it was one of them where I was like, right, I've seen all of them. I think they're all done pretty well. Dan Burns done well at Newcastle. I thought about him. And I just thought, let's just look at the stats. I think most chances created from left-back, most tackles at left-back as Estupiñán. And I just thought, right, let's go with what that is. I think Luke Shaw's been outstanding. I nearly went for Luke Shaw, but I thought, let's just look at the stats and who's had the most impact going forward and who's had the most impact in terms of actual tackles and defending. And Estupiñán, to be fair to him, has been sensational, so I went for him.
So why do you look at the stats at the left-back and not the left winger and right?
No, won't let it lie.
Carrot, it's really simple. I know I have to explain this to you every single day. Where I'm certain in my selection, I will just pick them. So Haaland, I didn't look at the goals compared to Kane. I know the goals, obviously. But what I'm saying to you is... No, but also I didn't Diaz. I didn't look at Diaz's stats. I was certain that Diaz was going to be... No, because I wasn't sure about that position. And you listen to me. Yeah. Right? I wasn't sure about the centre-back, right centre-back, and I wasn't sure about left-back. They were the 2 positions, along with goalkeeper, I wasn't sure about. I was like, left-back, I'm not sure who it is. So I'll look at stats to try and help me. Simple, understand? I need to stop doing this show soon, you know.
Nick Pope's a goalkeeper of the out. He didn't find a place for Paul Pogba in his team.
Nick Pope, to be fair, Newcastle, Trippier right back, outstanding right back by far. And at goalkeeper, I love Ederson and I love Alisson. They've been the 2 favourite goalkeepers. But I just thought what Newcastle have done defensively with less good I think probably less resource defensively in terms of the defenders. I just thought was spectacular. Nick Pope tonight, you've seen basically the best goal scoring, best defensive record along with City, and I thought he deserved it.
All right, it's all out there. You've seen the teams of the season. Let the guys know whether
they'll let us know.
Jamie's side is better than Gary's side. I think you'll win some favour with some Arsenal fans tonight.
I think for the first time in probably 3 or 4 years, I don't usually pay much attention to it. My team's better than his. I actually think it is.
My goalkeeper's better than yours.
Sorry, who did you have in that?
Alisson, best goalkeeper in the league.
Right.
Oh, we could spend hours going
Harry
over
Kane's on
again.
it. You picked Saka and Martinelli over Salah and Harry Kane. How's your team better than mine?
For this season?
Yeah.
Well, I don't get your shape up front with Kane.
Don't worry about it. We'll just batter yous.
Oh, my God.
People are reaching for remote control. They want to say goodnight to